lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, nah, likely. I be taking shots, yeah, cold-blooded, icy. Watching numbers grow is what I call sightseeing. In the front row, run it up when they hype me. The following grows, they know how to ignite me. Call me CEO, I've been running right, see. And I ain't playing games, I create my own lane, making pleasure out of pain, turning losses into...
What is up, everybody? Good morning, good Saturday morning to everybody. Good early game day tomorrow. Hope everybody's had a fantastic week. Pittsburgh Steelers are taking on the Cincinatti Bengals tomorrow at 4:25 Eastern. Game was flexed back. It was a Sunday night game, but it is moved back. Steelers will be wearing the color rush uniforms and going up against Cincinnati Bengals, who will be in their all white uniforms, including their helmets. A lot of people in the live chat already. I'd like to see that. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay. I had a little bit of technical difficulty getting on with my mic. That's what took me a little bit. I apologize for that. It was sounding odd earlier. So real quick, kind of go through the live chat. Say hello to the early ongoers in the live chat. We have Jared Devil, George Teston. Hey, Steelers fan. I like that broom, George. I like that broom. Let's see. We have person. It just started. Let's see. Hey, JJ52, how's it going? Claude Bishop. Awesome. Thank you so much for letting me know. Appreciate that. So this is the Q&A show where I answer some of y'all's questions, kind of go over a little bit of topics, things of that nature, and, kind of preview the upcoming game. So, the Steelers right now are 3-6. They're currently tied for last or in last place since the Cleveland Browns are also 3-6, but currently have the tiebreaker due to the head-to-head matchup. So the Steelers are still in the bottom of the basement, but I anticipate the Steelers getting out there and start moving up. It's time to start stacking some wins. We have, this is probably the healthiest the defense has been since week 1. And so, and week 1, the Pittsburgh Steelers were taking on the Cincinnati Bengals, and we all know and saw what that defense was able to do against Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase then and on that day, creating 5 turnovers and, just having a day on defense. I anticipate the offense of the Pittsburgh Steelers to play significantly better than what they did week 1. And we saw that a little bit already. We saw, the running game kind of take place a little bit last week against the New Orleans Saints, where the Pittsburgh Steelers as a whole offensively rushed for over 200 yards, which was the first time this entire season. And it was a breath of fresh air. And in my opinion, it just kind of seemed like this is the strength of this team. And they're going to need to continue to move the ball in this fashion. The Steelers' time of possession was over 37 minutes. And so, the defense, it's quite the opposite of what they were against the Cincinnati Bengals when they were on the field for 100 snaps. And so, that transition or that ability for the offense to maintain the ball and continue to drive down the field and put points on the board. I understand they only put 20 last week. However, they had some opportunities, had Kenny Pickett not sprained his ankle in that one drive that ended up in a missed field goal that started off as a 1st and goal. That you also have the other missed field goal by this field goal kicker, Matt Wright, who didn't look so good last week. It's very concerning to me, and he's going to have another opportunity to prove himself, but I think the Steelers are going to be a little bit more aggressive this week. So we have our first question. Person goes, do you think this can be George Pickens' breakout game? I think there's a possibility of that. You look at what the offense does as far as wanting to get the ball to their playmakers. They do it quite a bit. And I think that when you look at what was going on when the Steelers had Chase Claypool, I think there was just one of those scenarios where there was too many chefs in the kitchen, so to speak. And so, you have that one less option out there, but now you can kind of focus and generate getting the ball directed to one of your playmakers. Now, I anticipate that the Cincinnati Bengals, who are coming off of a bye week, looked at what the Steelers were able to do last week offensively running the ball. And I think that they're going to try to attack that. they're going to try to make Kenny Pickett throw the ball deep and beat them throwing the ball deep. It's one thing that Kenny Pickett, in my opinion, has kind of struggled up to this point. Last week he had a better second half. In my opinion, he had the ball down the field to Deontay Johnson that, DJ kind of jumped a little bit, and not saying had he not, he was going to score a touchdown, but I think he could have gotten a little bit more yards after the catch if he just runs through that pass. And so I think he showed a little bit better down the field, but, consistency is now the key. Can you do it again? And the Cincinnati Bengals are going to pressure that. They're going to see that, hey, the Steelers were able to get significant yards on the run, and that was more than what was expected or what had been the average up to that point in the game, given the games prior to that the Pittsburgh Steelers have been playing. Passing, this game was still pretty close to being on par, about 200 yards, nothing crazy. And so I think that the Cincinnati Bengals are going to target the run, and so that's going to leave George Pickens to, some opportunities, in my opinion, if the Pittsburgh Steelers can capitalize and or attempt to make those opportunities. One of the things that I've seen when it comes to the Steelers down the field is that it's not that the opportunities aren't there. It's not that the receivers aren't coming open. It's just sometimes whether it's the design of the play is looking elsewhere, and that design of the play is only designed for a few yards. And if it's there, you're supposed to throw it there before you scan the rest of the field to see if anybody else is coming. Or coming open, maybe, but it's either that or the quarterback is just not seeing down the field, or unwilling or unable to throw the ball down the field. Now, the unable part, I think we saw last week in the second half, that Kenny Pickett is able to drive the ball down the field and get it to where it needs to get. Now we just got to see about the consistency and the accuracy. If those two things come into play and you see the Cincinnati Bengals crowding the line, I think this could be a huge game for George Pickens. Great question. Thank you. If you guys have any other questions, let me know. How's it going, Big Blue? Big Blue in the house. He also goes, Daniel Roach is his real name, but he goes by Big Blue on the Drunk Turkey Show. It's our sister show that we talk about conspiracies. And right now we're really on the true crime kick. If you guys are interested in that type of content, I recommend going out there and checking it out. Pretty sure I put it in the description. TJ Watt is coming back, but I think more importantly is Minkah Fitzpatrick is coming back. From all reports, he was a full participant when it came to the injury report majority of this week. And so with that being said, I think he's going to participate in this upcoming matchup against the Bengals. And what that's going to do is going to allow the Pittsburgh Steelers to deploy a 3 safety set. And this is a defense that I think the Steelers were anticipating and deploying early and often throughout the year. However, Casey ended up with the arm. I think it was a wrist fracture and a broken forearm as well. He had 2 injuries in his arm. Had that thing not happen, I think the Steelers were going to deploy this look, and we're going to use it early and often. I think this is going to push Terrell Edmunds into the box. It's going to push Robert Spillane out of obvious passing situations as a coverage linebacker. And I think that's going to bode well for the Pittsburgh Steelers defense and their ability to cover, everybody that the offense or the opposition is putting out there on the field. When you have, Robert Spillane out there, he's a little bit compromised when it comes to pass coverage. And so with that being said, having Terrell Edmunds in there on running backs or tight ends or whatever the case may be, I think that's a better matchup for the Steelers than having Robert Spillane out there. Now, this is also a defense that, DeMonte Casey came back last week. Minkah Fitzpatrick wasn't there. And so if they deploy it out this year, it's not been seen in regular season games. It's going to be a new wrinkle for the defense. And, it might be something that can confuse Joe Burrow and perhaps maybe create some turnovers and get the ball in advantage, field position for possibility of scoring and putting up more points. Let's see. We have another question here. Do you think the Steelers can run the table 11-6? I think there's an opportunity. I'm probably going to predict that they do every week just because I'm a homer and I have some thick black and gold goggles. But realistically, I think the toughest games that the Steelers are going to be participating in not to take anything, because every game and every team is an NFL team with great talent, and usually sometimes they just got to put it all together. But the game in Baltimore is one that can be concerning. And this game here against the Cincinnati Bengals, in my opinion, are the two games that are probably going to be the toughest matchup for the Steelers with the remaining schedule. I think the Steelers can win this game. I think this is a very winnable game, especially when you look at the fact that Jamar Chase isn't going to be playing, and you have a TJ Watt back, and that that pass rush is going to get to Joe Burrow, and that pass rush is going to get to Joe Burrow without having to send a blitz or having to send extra guys. You know what I'm saying? And so that's going to allow a lot to drop back into pass coverage, which is why when you look at, Joe Burrow's interceptions, half of them came in week 1 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I'm not saying that the Steelers are going to jump up and get another 5 turnovers, but I do anticipate them getting the ball at least 2 or 3 times. I do believe that. But as far as running the table, I think there's a good chance. It's 1 week at a time. I think they have the possibility. It's going to fall on the shoulders of Kenny Pickett, to be honest with you. I think this defense is fine. I think this defense is going to keep the Steelers team in every game possible. And so with that being said, I think that it's going to fall on Kenny Pickett, Matt Canada, and Najee Harris. More so Kenny Pickett, as he's the leader of the team. He runs the plays on the field. I think he's going to get better. When you look at his trajectory, it was a little bit concerning. Going into last week against the Saints, I felt that Kenny Pickett was regressing a little bit. However, in that second half against the Saints, I think he took several steps forward, and he's looking okay. He's looking good. And I think that if he can continue the trajectory, continue the confidence building by going up against, some teams that are probably not as talented or put together as the teams that they've already played this portion of as of this part of the year to this point, is going to give them an opportunity to win some games and build that confidence. And I think there's a good chance. But it's a long second half of the season. Right now, let's just hope the Steelers get through this one and get through it healthy. That's the key, because I can guarantee you that if TJ Watt didn't go down, the Steelers are probably winning maybe 1 or 2 more of these games that they've lost, if not more. You look at the Buffalo Bills and the Eagles games, those 2 games are probably, losses there no matter what. But, the other games were kind of close. And so you can see that, that if, the injuries and the health portion of this game, if it was there, the Steelers probably do a lot better. Great question. Person goes, Casey and Fitzpatrick are deadly. I agree. I mean, did you see that hit? I mean, he got fined for that hit on Olave on the sideline there. I thought it was clean. It looked like he went shoulder to shoulder. But if they're finding him, I guess they slowed it down enough to see some type of helmet-to-helmet hit. But that reminded me a lot of Ryan Clark. And you have Minkah Fitzpatrick, who's also a ball-hawking safety. And that's the other thing. Like, Ryan Clark was tough, but he didn't have the gaudy interception numbers. KZ has led the NFL in interceptions at one point in his career. And so when you have 2 guys like that, and both of them are pretty physical, and then you have Terrell Edmonds, that's also a physical, athletic freak that can move inside of the box and run all over the field, sideline to sideline. I feel that this safety tandem is going to be one of the best in the NFL. That's why I think that when you look at the remaining schedule and you look at the teams that the Steelers are playing, and you look at if the Steelers can stay healthy the remaining portion of the year, then I think that this defense is going to keep the Steelers offense in many games, and there's a good possibility that they can run the table. Let's see. I missed one. Kamikaze and Minkah. Great one. Claudius goes, I believe the Bengals will try and dink and dunk to protect Joe. I mean, I think they may call that, but Joe's not that kind of quarterback. I think he's the type of quarterback that's going to want to take some he takes, one of the reasons he gets sacked a lot is because he holds the ball a lot to try to, wait for things to develop down the field. And so, they might try to protect him that way, but the style of play that he plays, he's he's an aggressive type of quarterback, and I think that's going to give him in trouble sometimes. And so if the Steelers can take advantage of those opportunities, I think they'll be all right. But I don't disagree with you. I think they'll try that. However, I think if the Steelers do jump up, maybe score a touchdown or two early, and get them out of that mode, I think that'll do better for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We want to get the ball out of Joe Mixon's hands at the end of the day. He's going to be their strength and probably what key focus of the game is. And if the Steelers can control the ball, put some points on the board, and force the Bengals to put the ball in the air, it might be the best bet for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They definitely have to work on their red zone offense. I agree 100%, Claude. The Pittsburgh Steelers offense in the red zone has been tremendously poor. It was once a strength of the offense when under Ben Roethlisberger, but you have an experienced quarterback, Hall of Fame quarterback to a rookie quarterback. There's going to be a bit of a drop off. I just didn't expect it to be this big. I mean, you even look back at Trubisky. He did a little bit better in the red zone, but it wasn't by much. And so, with that being said, it definitely needs to be picked up. Definitely does. I don't think Burrow is patient enough to dink and dunk. Yeah, that's my thoughts too, George. TJ make the team get fired up. So as long as TJ brings the fire. Yeah, and TJ's always going to bring the fire, for sure. Aaron Jade goes, here we go, Steelers. I'll just leave this up here. The helmet hit after the shoulders impacted. Well, you can't control that. I mean, I think that the way the penalty was designed was that you wouldn't lead and cause the initial impact with your helmet. I mean, if the guy reacts and he's, his helmet goes forward because you impacted his shoulder and stopped him forcibly and the helmets collide, that's not by intent or ill will or anything. I don't think he should have gotten fined. I understand the penalty. I just don't think he should have gotten fined. I think that was maybe poor judgment. However, I haven't seen the tape. I haven't seen it in slow motion either. Let's go over some injury news real quick. So the only person out for the Pittsburgh Steelers at this point is Ahkello Witherspoon. I know that Minkah Fitzpatrick's been a full participant, but he's been dealing with appendicitis and had the appendectomy like a week ago today. And so, it's pretty early for him to be coming back, to be honest with you. The dangers about it is the fact that they have to cut through the muscle to get to it. And that muscle has to heal. If he goes out there, he could potentially tear that muscle. And so, and be out a significant long period of time. From my understanding, I'm not a doctor. So my understanding is that's what needs to be done. And so, he said, and so did the coach say, it's going to be a game time decision, see how he feels. But he's been a full participant this entire week for the most part. And so I feel that he's going to end up playing. Devin Bush had a knee. He's been a full participant. I think he's going to be all right. Najee Harris had a knee in the game. He's been a full participant. He's going to be in there. TJ Watt was resting a couple of days this week, but he's been a full participant. So is Cameron Hayward. Larry Ogunjobi was a full participant. Kevin Dotson has been a full participant. He had a hip. And so those are just guys that have been through the injury report that were limited at one point or did not participate. And, like I said, I think this is probably going to be the healthiest Steelers team in a while since week one. I think that bye last week before the New Orleans Saints game really did well for the Pittsburgh Steelers to get healthy, to get back rested and not just healthy physically, but healthy mentally as well. Take a break off and really let things click, so to speak. Let's see. Claude Bishop says, Joe is scared to death of TJ. The pigeons are really to drop bombs on Joey Bungle. Yeah, in fact, later on today, guys, I'll be on the Steelers Nation Australia channel with Mark Davison and Ethan Hines will be there as well. We'll be having an episode of the Unofficial Steelers podcast. And I believe the broadcast is already out. And Mark, he put the thumbnail as Joe getting pooped on by a couple of Steelers pigeons. It's quite hilarious. Check them out on this evening. We'll be talking about the Steelers and previewing the game as well. Let's see. Think how deadly our linebacker core is. Miles Jack, TJ, and Highsmith. If we get Will Anderson Jr., we would have a very good pass rush. I agree. The only thing with that, I think the Steelers aren't going to be in a position to get Will Anderson. They'd have to lose a lot of the remaining games. And not saying that that's not possible. I mean, the Steelers haven't played the best football this season. And, so it's, at this point, they'd probably be in line to get Will Anderson. You're looking at this draft probably being heavily quarterback drafted early in the first round. And so there's a possibility he may drop to the second half of the top 10. However, I'm not sure the Steelers are going to be in the top 10. I think the Steelers have a great opportunity of winning at least, 6, 7 of these last 9 games or 8 games. I'm sorry. And so with that said, yeah, I mean, if they'd have to probably only, go maybe win 2 games out of the remaining to be in that area and that general ballpark, in my opinion. But I think that would, having a key edge rusher like that or linebacker, that would be amazing, to be honest with you. Let's see. And so we'll go through some a little bit of news. Let's see what else is going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers coming into this game. Let me know if you guys have any comments or questions. We'll go over. Also, guys, I think this upcoming week, I just kind of want to let you guys know, I think maybe on Wednesday or Thursday. Well, probably not Thursday. Thursday's Thanksgiving. So probably on Wednesday, I'm going to be doing another live show in the evening. And in that show, I anticipate having a little bit more of y'all's participation, hopefully. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put out the link in the live stream that day and have you guys come on, talk to me about the, Steelers, have any questions, things of that nature, comments. And, you'll get about 2 minutes or so to come talk your comments and say your piece. And then we'll continue to roll on. Now you will have to come out on camera and show yourself. So if you do want to come out on camera and talk Steelers football on Wednesday afternoon, give us a like and a subscribe, and be ready for the camera. I've watched a couple of different content creators, and they'll allow fans to come in and the fan won't have their camera on until they're in, and then they start showing some body parts, so to speak. So you'll have to have your camera on before you come in, just to make sure that nobody's doing anything inappropriate. Let's see. Or someone like Jalen Carter. Yeah, I think this defense, there's a good possibility the Steelers are going to go, defense. I would go in the first round. I mean, you're possibly looking at losing Devin Bush. Miles Jack is going to be on I would extend him. He's done really good. He'll have 1 year left. You'd have to look at the middle linebacker position. Offensive line is another one I would, take a look at, in the top 3 picks, because the Steelers are going to have 3 in the top, in the first 2 rounds. And so we'll see. Let's see. Joe's afraid of nickel star package with Minkah, Casey, and Edmonds. I think so too. I think that it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I think they're gonna confuse him, because this isn't a defense that the Steelers just implemented a lot. So there's not that much tape out there on it. And so, in my opinion, it's gonna be something that they're not gonna be too prepared for, and it could create some havoc, in my opinion. It's gonna take Spillane off the field, which is 100%. I agree with you. Taking Spillane off of the coverage is, when offenses see Spillane on the field, they tend to target him quite a bit. And so it's not by mistake or by happen chance or design. It's more because of the, his limitations. And so I think this is a good move. You're going to see a lot more of Terrell Edmonds in the box, and I think he matches up a lot better in pass coverage, in my opinion. Let's see. So Alex Highsmith, he won the AFC Player of the Week earlier this week. Congratulations to him. He had 2 sacks last week. One was a fumble, strip sack. I'm sorry. I think he's going to have to get another big game this week. When you look at what he did against the Cincinnati Bengals in week 1, you look at what he did last week against the New Orleans Saints. It's not saying that all his credit of his hard work and whatever you want to call it should go to TJ Watt across from him. But there is a TJ Watt effect. When you have TJ Watt on the field, there's more attention that is brought to his direction. Offenses have to scheme plays away from him and or put players in position to block or added players in there for position to block for protection. That allows for opportune matchups for the other guys on the pass rush and on the defensive line. You're looking at one-on-one situations. You're looking at plays going more to your side, quarterbacks rolling out to your side because they're rolling away from TJ Watt, things like that. And so it gives him an opportunity to really create, some havoc there and also create a disruption or be a disruptive member of the defense. And he's going to have to be because, if that ends up being the case, then, the offense and the opposition now has 2 players to worry about, and that's going to give more opportunities for TJ Watt. And so it goes hand in hand. It's a team sport. But, you look at you have TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, Larry Ogunjobi, Alex Highsmith. It's in my opinion, a stacked front defensive line, and one that typically you're wanting to double team each of those guys. You're not wanting to leave those guys on an island by themselves. In order to do that, you need 8 players blocking. It's not possible. So, with that being said, I think that it just gives the other players a great opportunity to make plays, and they need to, come through on that. And so, Alex Highsmith did it last week. He's been doing it up to this point. I think he's a way better Robin than a Batman, and I think he's on pace for double-digit sacks for sure. I think he's going to hit that. I'm thinking he's going to hit somewhere around 13. It's going to be a good year for him, and he needed to have this because next year is his last year on contract, and so if he's hoping to have some kind of contract extension this offseason, a big year this year would definitely bode well for that argument. Let's see. There will be multiple interceptions again, but with Pickett at QB, I think we will score 27-16. That's a good score. I actually predicted 27-20, I think it was. Maybe I didn't even predicted 27-16. Can't remember. I predicted it was 27, but it was going to be 4 touchdowns and 1 missed extra point. And so, I'm predicting the Steelers to win also with 27 points. Let's see. Edmonds can cover and tackle 100%. In fact, Edmonds is clutch when it comes to tackling. He's had a couple of games where I think it was in 2020 where he had a sack on Allen at the end of the game to win it when they were driving. So yeah, he's clutch. He's good. The one thing he's got some bricks for hands, but outside of that, he's a fantastic safety in my opinion. Let's see. Alex Highsmith has been a blessing and definitely better than Bud Dupree after 2.5 seasons. I agree 100%. He's got a lot of quarterback pressures. He's got a lot of potential, and I think this year he's putting it all together. He's right now he's tied for 4th place in the league for sacks with 8.5. And so I agree 100%. He's definitely better than what Bud Dupree is or has been since he's left. And I think he's been a blessing. He's, a surprise comes from a small school. So not many eyes on him. Had he gone potentially to a larger school, he probably would have been drafted a lot higher. Let's see. Hey, thank you so much, Gene. You have a good day, man. Appreciate it. I think Edmonds sacked Bridgewater at the end of the Broncos game. The end of the Broncos game, that one was last year. That one was an interception by James Pierre that ended that game. But Edmonds has had some amazing tackles, and he's just, like I said, he's been clutch. He's a good safety. He's just got some bricks for hands. He can't catch to to save his life. But I think, you look at what he did last week on the interception that DeMonte Casey had. Edmonds jumped up like 10 feet in the air to tip the ball up a little bit. That was amazing. That was an athletic play that, if he doesn't cause the ball to drift up a little bit, then, there's a good chance that the receiver for the Saints catches that ball. It was placed in a good position had it not been tipped. So, um, and Andy Dalton didn't do too bad last week. He had some pretty good placement and of the ball. Even the defense came out and said it as well, that he was throwing out their bullets. And so it wasn't like, I remember the one play where Arthur Mollett broke up the ball, the pass to Olave, where it was in his hands, and Mollett, breaks it up. That scared the crap out of me. I saw, so they, in that play, they lined up Edmonds in the middle linebacker position, and he went in on a blitz, and that left Arthur Mollett one-on-one on the slot receiver, which was Olave at that time, and it was a slot fade. And there's a big height difference there, and there's a that guy's a first round pick for a reason, going up against a slot cornerback. That was a play above the line, in my opinion, by Arthur Mollett, and I'm glad he did it. But yeah, that play could have ended bad. Let's see. Edmonds is RC to Minkah's Troy. I can see that. I would agree. I think the problem, like a lot of heat that Edmonds gets, is that because he was a first round pick, that they expected a Troy, not an RC. You know what I'm saying? And so that was I think a lot of why he gets a negative stigma. He's a first round pick. He should be Troy, and he's not. He's RC. And I don't remember where RC was taken, but I don't think he was taken in the first round. I don't even know if he was drafted, to be honest with you. But that was such a long time ago, and it wasn't for the Steelers, so I don't remember. But yeah, I agree 100%. He is that other safety, and I just like the fact that the Steelers now have 3 safeties that are back there that can, really create the boom, and you have 2 of them that can really, make the offense hurt for turning the ball over because they have some catching abilities. Let's see. I thought Olave had it too. Mollett has grit. Yeah, that I agree 100%, Jared. That was I was like, oh no, yes, that's basically what it was going like when the ball was up in the air. I thought the guy was going to catch it. I was like, man, this sucks. But Mollett pulled it off. I was jumping up and down. Let's see. The Saints scored 10 points with the help of the referees because that wasn't the personal foul. It's a great hit to separate the ball from the player. I agree. It wasn't a foul. They were in scoring position at that point, though. Whether it was a touchdown the next play or a field goal, they were, in position. They drove the ball down that field on that one drive. And I'll be honest with you, they had scored. When they scored the 10 points, I was getting a little bit nervous. I was like, oh man, here we go again. The offense was starting to kind of sputter a little bit, and the defense was looking, in those 2 drives, not so great. But in the second half, the Steelers defense, I'm not sure if it's adjustments that they make or they just, execute better in the second half. But the Steelers have been known to shut out or limit offenses in the second half of games for a long time. And I shouldn't have been surprised that they were able to do that against a familiar foe in Andy Dalton. Well, let's see. Claude Bishop agrees. Our secondary is highly underrated. Sutton, Wallace, James, Witherspoon, Jackson III are very good. I agree. Issue there, though, is Jackson III, Witherspoon. They're both, well, they're not playing right now. Jackson's on IR, and Witherspoon probably should have been on IR with how many games he's missed. Wallace he was better this last week, but he's been the target for a lot of teams up to this point. And, I think and I mentioned this in the offseason. I said that, a secondary's best friend, because, when everybody was kind of wondering about Joe Hayden and him not coming back, I said a secondary's best friend is a pass rush. Levi Wallace didn't look so great while TJ Watt was there, but, one game back, Levi Wallace had an interception, and he looked like the cornerback that the Steelers went out and acquired in free agency this offseason. So I agree with you. Yeah, I remember we picked up RC. I just don't remember if RC, when he came into the league, if he was drafted or undrafted or where he was at. SOS is either hung over or he stayed up late watching Steelers film. A little bit of both. Not just playing. We didn't have a drunk turkey show last night, so I didn't drink. I did watch some Steelers film though last night and today. It's true. But in this game here, I'm excited about what the Steelers can do against the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm excited what the Steelers can do about the Cincinnati Bengals. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a statement game. And I think if the Steelers come in there and do what I think they're going to do, which is win, that's a stacked win that's going to put the rest of the AFC North on notice. The Steelers aren't dead yet. That they're still coming out and they're still going to try to, fight till the very end to get into the playoff position. But I'm excited. George Testingo asks, when is the next live on GTS? I like those mysteries. We're going to do one Monday and Tuesday. So DTS is the Drunk Turkey Show. We're doing a lot of the murder mysteries right now. We're covering the Delphi murders in Indiana. There's been an arrest there. And on Monday, we're going to be talking about the 4 people that were murdered in Idaho. And so if you guys are interested in that type of content, please follow the Drunk Turkey Show. We'll be going live Monday and Tuesday there. No problem, George. But for the Steelers, for this game, man, I'm gonna have my broom ready. I hope this don't bite me in the rear later. But the Steelers win. I'm gonna have my broom in the live chat tomorrow on the post game show. So make sure you hit your like and subscribe button so you don't miss it. I can't wait. There it is. I thought he was undrafted. RC was undrafted and signed by the Giants. I thought that was what it was. He was undrafted. And you look at Edmonds as RC. RC was undrafted, and Edmonds was taken in the first round, where that's kind of where the comparison goes, in my opinion. And you look at all right, Edmonds should be playing like Minkah, but he's playing like RC, and I think that's where he gets a little bit of flack. But I think when you look at the tandem of Minkah and Edmonds, it's fantastic. And then when you add DeMonte Casey, it's going to be a huge element. This defense is going to go places. As long as they can stay healthy and the offense can not turn the ball over. I think that was a huge thing last week against the New Orleans Saints, was the Steelers didn't turn the ball over at all. Najee did have a fumble, and that was concerning. He never fumbles the ball. But, fortunately, the Steelers were able to recover it. Hopefully that doesn't turn into a habit or a little trend here. But, I think the Steelers are going to win. I'm going to bring out my broom tomorrow. Darwin, in Idaho, that was terrible. We're going to be talking about that tomorrow and going over that. I mean, not tomorrow, on Monday, in that case, on my other show. I'm going to bring out my broom later. I have a feeling the Steelers are going to sweep the Bengals. My predictions for the game, I went with 27-20. I think the Steelers are going to score 4 touchdowns, and I think this is because they're going to have to be aggressive. When you look at Matt Wright and the misses that he had last week, I think it would probably be smart of the Pittsburgh Steelers to be a little bit more aggressive in this game and go for it, especially if it's like, inside, past the 50, and you're looking at less than 4th and 3. I think the Steelers are going to go for it in those opportunities. Michael Malley says, as much as I want as high draft picks, I want to beat the Bengals. Yeah, I hear you on that one. Keys to victory in this game, I think the Steelers are going to have to maintain time of possession. You look at what the Bengals were able to do last week. The first week in week 1, they held on to the ball for a significant amount of time. The Steelers had a tremendous amount of 3-and-outs. And, the Steelers defense were on the field for 100 snaps. that can't happen again this time around. The Steelers need to maintain possession of the ball. They need to, uh, you know, continue their trajectory and continue to have good games in the run and not turn the ball over. And I think the Pittsburgh Steelers won 27-20. It's going to be a colder game, I believe. So it's going to be a test to see how Kenny Pickett, these are the games that I wanted to see Kenny Pickett play in. Is he going to be able to handle the cold and the elements and the in the late fall, early winter games that are going to be coming up? And so it's going to be a huge game for Kenny Pickett. I think he's going to rise up to the challenge. I think he's going to get his first, multiple touchdown games through the air. I think he's going to pass for 2 TDs. And I think the Steelers are going to win 27-20. Let me know what you guys think the Steelers are going to do in this game. Let's go through some of this. Hold on real quick. Sorry about that. Kazi can lay the wood. Yeah, he sure can. 3 TDs and 2 field goals. I hear you on that one. My only issue about the 2 field goals is still coming from Matt Wright. And so I'm concerned about it, man. I'm concerned. I thought the Steelers would have gone somebody else, but I get it. Yeah, the Steelers missed 2 field goals against the Saints. 27-17 Steelers. Yes, I like that score. That would be a comfortable game. 27-17, in my opinion, would be a comfortable lead compared to what the Steelers have done as far as their wins. Last game against the Saints, that was a 10-point win. That was the first time a win, and not in double and within 8 points and since last year. So it would be good to have 2 of those for sure. Kenny is a Jersey guy, and it gets, I want to say he's meant colder there too. I agree. I'm not saying that he is incapable of doing it. It's just this is his first time playing with an NFL ball this late in the season. College, I'm not sure when that ends, but what I mean is, like, the NFL professional ball goes into this first week of January. That's significantly longer than any college or high school or anything like that. And so it'll be his first time playing competitive sports outdoors like this that I'm aware of. Like, that's tackle football. So it's to be seen, but I think he's going to rise up to the plate, so to speak. I think he's going to have a good game for sure. Let's see. Matt left. Yeah. I wish he left. That was the one thing that I was hoping for. I hope the Steelers were going to say, all right, we're going to, because the Steelers took him off the Chiefs practice squad. And so because of that, they have to pay him for 4 games. That doesn't mean they have to keep him on the team. They just got to pay him for 4 games. And I don't know if he's worth, all right, we're paying him, we might as well use him type of thing. Because, was it Nick Skiba was the guy that the Steelers had before? I thought he was doing all right. I really did. But, well, guys, I'm coming up on the 45 minutes. I want to thank everybody in the live chat. Thank everybody who's been participating. Please hit the subscribe button. I'll be going live again tomorrow after the game. We'll be talking our thoughts, and I'll be having a broom with me because I'm anticipating the Steelers sweeping the Bengals this year. Thank you so much for your all's contribution. And if you're watching on the replay, thank you for watching, and let us know in the comment section what you think of the show. But with that being said, guys, I hope y'all have a fantastic day. Steelers need to win another one tomorrow, back-to-back wins. And with that being said, I'm Daniel J. This is State of the Steelers. Peace.